And good night again, and welcome to RRC's coverage of classics on a Sunday night. What else are you going to do? Stuck in, freezing cold outside? Let's do some racing. Unfortunately, there's no F1 at the moment, it's the off season. But we're back with a bang with RRC, and we are starting round number one, race number one on a Sunday night. And what an absolute banger we are going to get off to in Bahrain. It's a scrappy do, and bringing you live coverage of round one Bahrain for RRC's coverage of the Classics race. And what a way to start off the RRC season. I hope you've been resting well over the last couple of weeks. We've missed you as much as you've missed us. I hope the off season has brought some joyous fun at this time of year, but now it's time to get back to some serious racing business. So, unfortunately, Mono is racing tonight and can't be with me to co-commentate, but I'll be taking you through the qualifying and the race. Now, it is a brand new season, there's brand new rules, and that's the reason we're looking at the 2010 cars right now. We'll be joining the grid relatively shortly, but in this season, there will be 19 races to pick from, and the easiest way is to talk you through it. So, these three cars, they're all 2010 cars. Obviously, we know the Ferrari bringing a lot of joy to Fernando Alonso. Of course, the Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton lineup in this car, Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel in the cars. Of course, the other Ferrari driver was Felipe Massa. Hadn't forgotten about Felipe. But the season, so the first three races for tonight's Bahrain, Japan, Short and Australia. So with that, you have to use one of these three cars. They were pretty much level on terms, and maybe this is going to bring a new dynamic to Sunday Night Classic racing. So it's a case of you've got to use one of these three cars in the first three races coming up. So what do? So Bahrain, obviously you've got those long straights, and it's about the top speed, so maybe not pick the Red Bull, maybe go for the Ferrari or the McLaren. But then you've got Japan Short, so maybe the tight and twisty of the Red Bull will be better for that race. And then you've got Australia, so maybe you pick the McLaren, or maybe you pick something completely different to that, but you do have to use those three cars for the first three races. Then we'll have a reset, where then you have to use the same three cars again for the same three races, but that's completely down to what you want to do there. I'm getting numerous invites from absolutely everyone out there, so I think it's best that we join the circuit. Have a quick look through to see the driver pairings and who we're going to be looking at tonight. Okay, it's saying the invitation hasn't worked, so let's try it. It's saying it still can't be used. Okay, very strange. It's saying we can't join the session. Hopefully that's just a glitch. I'm going to try and get that sorted out. But so let's talk about Bahrain really quickly, of course. So the setup tonight, so we're looking at a short qualifying session. It will be equal cars, but of course the handling of these three cars is completely different. Of course, the Red Bull much suited to kind of mid-range to high downforce circuits. You've got the McLaren, fantastically fast that year, had some grip, didn't have the grip of the Red Bull. Of course, a newer car, we can expect that. And with the Scuderia Ferrari, the actual speed of the car was fantastic, especially around the circuits like Monza. So expect of course, the Tifosi, we should say, to be using, and all the racing buddies should be using the Ferrari to the best of its ability at circuits like that, you would expect. So it will be setups today, of course, where you can pick from. You have obviously a few default setups which you can join onto. It's not a complete open setup in here, and again, that does make it close racing. I think one of the good things in the last season RRC has brought in is the closeness in racing, and that is definitely down to the fact of the setup. So you've got cars, you're not going to be sitting there for hours, or maybe going online or paying your buddy a few bucks to get a really quick setup, and then using it and then actually streaming off, which you've seen in some other leagues, at least with the RRC Racing League, especially in the classics. So let's have a quick look. So we've got instantly, so Gavlar going for the 2010 Ferrari. I think maybe you heard us. We've got Fish is obviously very well known to RRC racing community, going for the McLaren, as has Toon, as has Puppy. So you can see as we go down the Extremist and Jack Blum looking at the 2010 Ferrari, the Red Bull Sinopats. Again, apologies if I do mispronounce his name, for the going for the Red Bull. RC Smithy again for the Red Bull, as has Tatton and iStreams. And Rocker, now we know what this guy is capable of. Ferrari, Charlie in Japan, nice to see him back, going for the 2010 Ferrari. Chumabar going for the 2010 McLaren, mono yet to decide, and of course I'm not taking part in commentating and keeping an eye out for you guys. So Shabs, he's gone for the 2010 McLaren as well. So we can see across, this is now, it comes down to driver choice, of course, of what car you want to go for. Of course, now we've been prepping for the last couple of weeks, so there has been an off-season championship going on. Myself, I've been trying to keep away from a little bit, just to soak off, just to let the steam out for the Christmas period and New Year period. But believe you me, I'll be ready to go like everyone else is tonight. So one thing you're guaranteed today, of course, Bahrain is going to be excitement. Now, of course, anyone who's obviously watches Formula One, I hope everyone does, listens to the stream, will be getting a bit bored of Bahrain, because it's out of the last 3 races, we've seen 2 races down Bahrain. Fantastic circuit, you have to say. It does look like we'll be going back to Bahrain for the F1 2021 season instead of Australia, unfortunately, when we get there in March. So the circuit's been used for the last 15 years or so. I can remember the early 2000s. We did have one layout of that. It was then changed back to the circuit we know all about. Of course, the F1 did use the short version of this, and Codemasters do use a shorter version of this circuit. I'm not a huge fan of it myself, and much prefer the longer Bahrain track. And it's good to see that being used tonight. So with it, we'll have a short qualifying session for 18 minutes or so. The race distance is going to be 25%. Now, one thing, of course, these tyres will go to the end of the race. However, a one-off pit stop is needed. Okay, so all the drivers are going to need to make at least one tyre stop in this race, which is going to spice everything up. So what do? Do you run a normal one stop and run exactly half distance? Of course, everyone else is going to be doing that. So if you're stuck behind other cars, maybe you go early and really push on the tyres to then have that longer stint afterwards. Maybe you make your first stint a little bit longer just to combat that. The options are really endless. And of course, you've got to think that the cars are very similar, but they're not identical in here. So the 2010 Ferrari, for example, is going to have a better straight line speed boost against the Red Bull. So you really have to fight. You have to fight your battles. That's one thing I was saying to one of my teammates over the weekend. You have to pick your battles to fight. So maybe if you're fighting the 2010 Ferrari, it's going to be harder than fighting the Red Bull. And here, of course, I was saying, me personally, what I would probably do around this circuit, maybe run the McLaren. Or run the, I probably wouldn't run the Red Bull, can be completely honest with you. I think I'd want to save that. So, of course, as I was saying a little bit earlier, so the first 3 races of here, and this is why the car choice is so crucial, because it has an impact on not just this weekend, but the next 2 weekends as well. So you have to make sure you're absolutely nailed on with this. So Bahrain, realistically, the long straights, it's going to be, I wouldn't be picking a Red Bull, that's for sure. Japan short, that's more towards Red Bull's sort of capabilities, as is Australia. And maybe I'd probably, like I said, even go for a McLaren in that race. Then the next 3, so of rounds 4, 5 and 6, we've got Spain, China, a one-off in Monaco where you have to run the 2006 Renault, and then onto Russia for round 7. We then reset again. We've then got Canada for round 8, Singapore for round 9, and Hungary for round 10. We then have a reset. So again, the next 3 cars must be used again for Silverstone, Coast of the Americas, a one-off race in Brazil. We have to run the 1992 car, that Williams, that gorgeous championship-winning car by Nigel Mansell. We'd be lucky to see it out there at the Brazil track. The presets then go again. Then you have Austria, Italy, and Abu Dhabi. That is the powerhouse But it's going to be very, very tough, I think, in those 3 races to pick your car. I've reset again. Then, of course, the 91 McLaren, that gorgeous car, driven by Ayrton Senna. And then a one-off at Silverstone Shorts. Pretty good timing as we now go to the race track. So, it's all about here, making sure you pick the right car, making sure you pick the right setup, not just thinking about, it's going to be dry. So that's another dynamic to throw into the pot here. We are green in the pit lane. I will be getting everything set up. As we can see already, someone deciding that maybe the Red Bull is the better way of doing things. You see Stringy, he is going for the McLaren, the Red Bull, and they've got all 3 cars available already out on the track. Which is good to see. So Jack out early. Always goes for that white helmet, Jack. I never understood that. So these guys trying to give themselves some space, and that for Stringy is not how you're going to be taking that chicane. Look how gorgeous that McLaren does. This is taking me back. Or even the changes with the cars. Just look at the high downforce on that rear wing. Of course, the shark fin bands from Formula 1. But these were absolute gorgeous cars. Of course, the slick tyre had only come back to Formula 1 since 2009. So these cars, they were trying to get the best, really. They were so used to driving around on the groove tyres. And this is, of course, when we saw the engines go from V10s down to V8s as well. So a very changeable time for Formula 1 this was with these cars. And actually changeable, very changeable helmet there from Smithy. I'm sure that's going to look lovely underneath the Bahrain lights tonight. So Charlie in Japan, he didn't have the best end to his season, unfortunately. So hopefully he's been well rested and hopefully he gets back to his best here. So we've got 15 drivers taking part in today's session. Quite a few of them, it looks like, going for white helmets. Maybe they're keeping their helmet designs under their beds for a grand reveal for later in the week. So it looks like we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys still in pit road. It is possible to run have 3 attempts at pole position here. The guys that have stayed in for the moment won't. So let's follow Jack Blum, who's the first guy out. So it only stands that he's the first guy to set a fast lap. Stringy is right behind him as well. Hopefully Jack's not going to get in his way and he's not going to get in Stringy's way of the lap. It does look like, unfortunately, that Stringy might get blocked. So this is the problem of not leaving space for each other on the outlaps. So, realistically there, Jack should really be getting out of the way for Stringy. But, of course, he's on a hot lap himself. Of course, DRS is not available in this race series. So, we will not be seeing it. DRS is not coming along to a few years later. So, of course, if you want to get past someone, you've got to do the old-fashioned way. As we can see, Jack taking that second sector very, very wide open. That's not how you're going to be taking it. He's getting used to the Ferrari. And that lap, unfortunately, from Stringy is going to be relatively lost. He is trying to get an aero drag off the back of the Ferrari, which he did. So he will go as iFishes takes, or for the moment anyway, pole position in this race. 31.1. Stringy goes into second place. Big shame for him. Jack's lap has been compromised. So is Stringy going to be able to get out of the way for Jack after the last lap? Mono puts a lap in at 1:33.1. Rocker then displaces him and puts him down to P3. So he's going for the all-black helmets and for the Red Bull today. So Rocker and iFishes at the moment dueling for pole position. 1:31.1. iFishes currently on official pole position for the Bahrain Grand Prix with 13 minutes and 45 seconds left in the session. Rocker currently joining him on row 1 on a 1:31.482. So what's that, 3/10 down. Mono is a few thousandths out. He's getting pushed down by Shabs now. he takes on to third place. Mono down to fourth. It's Smithy who's fifth. It's Shrewd sixth. It's Mopax in seventh. Toon is eighth, and Tatton's already out of the session. Unfortunately, Charlie in Japan is ninth, and Jack is out on the track, but yet to set a fast lap. We'll follow him till the end of this one, just to see if he can put a lap time down. Stringy has got out of the way, but it does look like he's on his way back to the pit road. Fishes does a faster lap time. This is what you're going to be seeing from these guys going at it again for a second run. You're going to have to use these tyres in the race, but at the moment, well, the fastest lap you put your best, pardon me, what am I talking about tonight? The lap you set your fastest lap on, or so the best set of tyres you set your fastest lap on, that is what you want to be doing. And Fishers has decided he doesn't like that set of tyres at all. He's put it into the wall. He's going to be out of qualifying, pushing just a bit too hard on a second run as we was watching him. So Rocker now and the closing pack have an opportunity, with Fishers not taking any further part in qualifying, to see if they can displace his pole position. With 12 minutes to go, the track evolution will come. So Rocker is the closest guy out there with a 1 minute 31.482. So a quick look, Toon fans gone for the McLaren. What is he off pole at the moment? 32, so that's 1.8 seconds down, and he's got it all kinds of sideways going into the slow section. He has got off that lap. The Extremist looks like he is on a lap currently, coming towards the end of Sector 3. And that is not, oh no, pardon me, he's not even Sector 1 there. That is not how you want to be taking any part of Sector 1, holding a lot of the inside curb. And we're touching this, but don't touch the curb there, which he rightly does. Slow it down to second gear as he turns in here. Very gingerly on the throttle. It's a very nervous Ferrari. The braking point about now or so. He's holding the Ferrari pretty well there, the Extremist. The McLaren doesn't get in the way ahead of us. Braking point to 50-metre board, which the Extremist rightly does. Want to hold this till the inside. And this is very difficult in an F1 car of any generation, as is this corner here, this tricky section. It's all about how much power and how much speed you can take out of that last corner, and because it will have a massive impact on your sector times here, keeping them red or green. The final corner in Bahrain, and the Extremist is getting off the throttle, so he's returning to pit road. Mono is on track as well. He's on an outlap, so he's got rid of those tyres with just over 10 minutes to go in the session, and he is attempting another lap. Charlie in Japan on his outlap. Toomba, very fancy race suit and a Michael Schumacher helmet he's sporting tonight. Michael Schumacher never actually got into a McLaren in real life, but it looks, but for the purposes of code markers, he's got the Michael Schumacher gloves by the looks of things. Very strange seeing that Michael Schumacher helmet in a McLaren. Of course, the only time a Michael Schumacher helmet was ever actually in a McLaren was David Coulthard many years ago at the 1996 Monaco Grand Prix, and he's at McLaren borrowing Michael Schumacher's race helmet because his was steaming up. And what can Toomba do? He goes second fastest at 1 minute 31.442. 4/10s off pole, but fantastic lap from Toomba. So the track is definitely coming back to these guys. We'll be going back to Mono and Rocker shortly. Let's see what they can do. I just want to see what Poppy can do towards the end of his lap. Lots of inside curb there from Poppy. Miss the time in F1 car, you'll be thinking DRS, 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 and of course that's one thing you haven't got to worry about tonight. But these cars are very, very hard to drive. And where does Poppy go? Poppy puts himself P7 at that lap, a 1 minute 32.652. Rocker 90, we know what this guy is capable of. He's currently in P3 on row 2 right now. 1 minute 31.482. 4 tenths off the pole, only 4 thousandths of a second off the front row. What can he do here? The 50-meter board. That's your first reference. That wasn't perfect from Rocker. This corner is crucial. It can put you in the wall if you touch that curb on the inside too much. Rocker gives it an arm's width away, and it's all about the drag and how much speed you can compromise yourself into these last two corners. And on the exit, that was pretty good there from Rocker. 1 minute 31.094 to beat. What can Rocker do? He doesn't go fastest. He doesn't go faster, I should say. He remains in 3rd place. Watching Puppy race around. Does he go for a second lap? He's currently in 7th. As Mono there. Is he on a fast lap? It says he's just started his fast. I maybe he made a mistake and his lap deleted. So he will surely go again. One thing you haven't got to worry about, of course, is having to charge your batteries up, as Mono is definitely not on a lap there. One good thing, of course, I was getting on to the batteries you haven't got to wear out. So these modern F1 cars, what you have to do is charge the battery. So you literally have, in most circuits, especially around Bahrain, you have one opportunity to fast lap. Bang! Because that's all the batteries will last for in that mode. So then if you want to do a second fast lap, you have to have a slow lap, before you can build the energy back up again and go again. In these cars, you can just go again. Of course, the tyres in modern F1 cars, you only have realistically one opportunity before the tyre starts really degrading. These tyres for using these multiplier cars not as degradable. So you have got the option of doing multiple runs. That's the reason why you can see that iFishers and Shabs have basically done 2 laps on the same tyre. Well, iFishers definitely did 2 laps on the same tyre. And Rocker moves into P2, and that's purely what we were just talking about there. So Tatton is not taking any further part in qualifying. Unfortunately for him, hasn't set a lap. iFishers will take no further part either. However, his lap he managed to, while he was in the session and while he had all 4 tyres on his car, was a 1 minute 31.094. It's good enough for fastest lap at the moment. We're just under 6 minutes to go, so these guys will get 2 more laps if they stay out. The Extremist stays P7. Wow. And there is a car stopped in Sector 1. Oh, and the Extremist is not going to be liking that. Maybe, let's have a quick look who that was. As we can see, Toon Fan racing around there on brand new tyres, you would hope. So P6 for Toon, what can he do? He's racing with his old pal Gavlar there. He's just ahead of him, a few thousandths. So a big rivalry between these two, between Gavlar and Toon Fan in the last couple of seasons. In all of the RRC racing series, good to see these guys racing tonight. And believe you me, between these two boys, they want to beat each other. They don't want to be the driver behind the other one in that respect. And these two, unfortunately, have had many issues on the circuit. And Toon Fan unable to do anything about Gavlar for the time being, so it's Gavlar who currently sits in P5, a few thousandths ahead of Toon Fan. So currently he's winning this qualifying battle. As you can see now, the traffic really trying to get out of the way of the faster cars coming through. Relatively short lap from Bahrain, but good to see so far everyone respecting each other's space. And Gavlar does he improve there? I don't think he do. Remains 5th place. Remains in 5th place temporarily. So with 4 minutes to go, so these guys have got. If you go out now, you're going to get an opportunity to do at least 2 laps on the tyre. I might be tempted to do that myself if I was taking part tonight. So Toon will go again. Toon Bar still is on circuit. Rocker staying in the pits. for the time being. The gap to I Fishers, who's in current provisional pole position, is just under 0.3 of a second. So he'll get one more opportunity to do something about that, to displace I Fishers from row 1. We'll stay with Toon Fan just to finish this lap, but it's not going to be good. Lots of understeer coming out of the last corner. He decides to pit. He's not going to be happy with that whatsoever. So, who have we got still out on circuit? Gavlob. I don't think his tyres are going to be up to it. So surely for him, if I was him anyway, I would be pitting for a brand new set of slick tyres to have one more attempt at pole position. Puppy is out on circuit as well. Doing well for himself, P8. Maybe he enjoys these, maybe prefers these classic cars. Charlie in Japan is going to be taking no further part in qualifying either. We can only assume that's for a on-track issue. Or on-track incident, I should say. But anyways, he will not be taking any further parts in qualifying, as I Fishers still leads temporarily provisional pole position with an up 1 minute 31.094 as we approach the 2-minute warning for qualifying. So 2 minutes to go, one more opportunity for the pack to do something about I Fishers' provisional pole lap. Well, Walker is the closest guy to him at the moment. He's still got 0.3 of a second to find. Jimbar a tenth behind Walker on P3. Shab's doing very well for himself at the moment. 1 minute 31.9. He's what, 0.4 off Jimbar, but off row of 4 for third position. But fantastic for fourth. Gavlar is looking at fifth. Toon Fan is 6th, Extremist looking at P7 right now, Puppy 8, stringing 9th and Mono in 10th position. As we look at Mono's lap, he is getting ready for this, surely one more time to go. So I Fishers and Rocker both finished their laps now, so Rocker he was unable to do anything about I Fishers in qualifying. He will take no further part in the session, as will Gavlar as well. He is locked in. So, for the time being, it looks like we've got a row 1 sorted, but who can do anything about it? We've still got quite a few drivers out there with 50 seconds to go to displace the first row of the grid. Mono looks like he's out of position at the moment. Surely he needs to find more out of this Red Bull. Looking at P10 right now. What does he do? Couldn't do anything about it. He'll get one more opportunity at a fast lap, as everyone's coming out now. Got Toombar on a fast one, hitting the rev limiter in 7th gear. He has got another McLaren ahead of him. I can't see who that is straight away, but he will not be liking this whatsoever. Taking a very wide line there, and this McLaren surely ahead of him. You'd hope we'll just get out of the way, which he does. So it's a free lap there, and then one more free pass there for Timber to go for it. We've got cars the Red Bull completely getting out of the way there. So we've got a checkered flag out on the racetrack. So one more lap to go. The Extremist is locked in for P7. Puppy in P8. I hope he stays there, doing very well in this qualifying session. Smithy on 11th place currently. Jack Bum 12th. Snowpat's 13th. These guys are locked in. We're riding with Toombar, is currently looking at P3 on row 2. Well, he's got one more chance to get onto row 1, and it is purple in sector 2. So we're going to stay with him until the end of this lap. Can he do anything about row 1 and get himself to the fighting end? We're seconds away from finding out. And Timbar, he didn't get pole position. Where does he go? He stays P3. So it looks like He couldn't do anything about it, so it looks like iFishers has gained pole position for the Bahrain Grand Prix. A lap of 1 minute 31. I didn't see the end of the time there. So a big congratulations to him. He was sitting out half the session after a crash. I'm sure his fingernails have been bitten down to the core by now. Rocca will join him on the first row of the grid, 2.39 tenths of a second behind. Jimbo, who is racing with, will start from third on row 2, with Shabs for company. With Gavlar and Toonfan, 5th and 6th, these guys are going to be fighting all the way to the flag. I can see that happening. The Extremist and Puppy, 7th and 8th, with Stringy and Mono, 9th and 10th. It's Smithy 11th, Jack Bum 12th, Snowpats in 13th, Charlie in Japan 14th, Tatan in 15th place, the only guy, unfortunately, to set a lap. So, well, quite an enjoyable qualifying session, actually. It's a shame we didn't get that last-ditched movement for the qualifying session, so maybe the guys towards the front deciding they want to save a set of tyres. Of course, if you can save a set of tyres, it can obviously become of absolute importance in the race. Maybe they'd found that they couldn't get anything more out of the car. And if anything, really, it's going to be fun all the way to the flag. So a couple of tenths between row 1 in qualifying. But of course, these two are going to be known for lap 1 battles. And that's the part that I'm looking forward to. When the lights go out in Bahrain. We're going to start the formation lap shortly. So right now the drivers will be looking at their strategies about when they're coming in for a tyre stop. So a mandatory tyre stop is needed in this race. And of course the drivers, whatever out of the 3 2010 cars for classics they have picked from, that is in the first 3 races what they're going to be needing to do. So we've got McLaren's 1, 2, 3 out there. Very interesting statistic there, just reading through really quickly. So let's have a quick look, because we don't need to know what tyres they're on, because if anyone decides they want to run on wet tyres, then, or intermediates, that would absolutely be more than interesting. Maybe that should be something that we look at for next season or later in the year as a wild card. Look at all these McLarens is making everyone run at least 1 lap on the intermediate tyres. That would definitely put the cat amongst the pigeons. So iFishers on pole position in the McLaren, as is Rocker and Timber and Shab. So in fact 1, 2, 3, 4 for the McLaren, so clearly a popular car here. Gavlar 5th, the first in the Ferrari, the first non-McLaren driver. Then we've got Toon in 6th in a McLaren, so expect to see a dogfight between those two, like I said, during the race. Extremist 7th in the Ferrari. You've got Puppy in 8th, and again a McLaren, as is Stringy in P9. Mono is the first Red Bull driver in the field. Smithy in a McLaren is 11th. The Jack Bum 12th. The Ferrari. Scott Pats has gone for the Red Bull. Charlie in Japan in a Ferrari? He wasn't a Ferrari, and Tatum in a McLaren. So Tatum will be using this lap as an exploratory lap, and hopefully he will be able to make the most, of course, not being able to set a lap in qualifying. So of course on here, back to basic with these cars, you can see that, what was that, I'm trying to think, that aero device at the front of the car, banned for, that was the last season allowed to run them in the 2010, maybe it's 2011, looking at the front of that McLaren. The V-wing that might have been called. But I do miss those shark wings, and of course the very, very narrow rear wings they used to have before they dramatically changed these F1 cars, and before we saw the Mercedes dominance. Well, in this race, I think one thing's changed. Definitely got a silver car dominating, and it's the same engine manufacturer as iFishers brings his McLaren. So we've got a lot of McLarens out there. Unsurprisingly, as I did say, obviously, if I was racing personally, I definitely would not have gone for a Red Bull. It would have been probably a Ferrari round here, to be completely honest, because of the horsepower difference. So that's what I fish can be looking at, those 5 red lights. So the Bahrain Grand Prix 4, 5 is go. Now we're going Bahrain. A good start there for my fishers. They've got Ferrari off in the background. Big shame about that. As you can see, Stab's making a fantastic move there for P1. Is he going to be able to hold it by the end of lap 1? I don't think he is. iFisher's back into the lead. Whoa, look at that. There's a Ferrari going all the way kind of sideways around. Oh, and we've got a safety car out there already, unsurprisingly. We've got some big changes out there. As you can see, Rocker down to P4. Actually, make that P5 even, because the safety car, now he will get P4 back. So, iFishers currently leads. We're going to go under safety car conditions shortly. Very difficult, but fantastic start, you have to say, from SNR Pats. It's gone up 10 positions. So, iFisher's currently leading as we go under safety car conditions. He did start on row 1. We've got Shabs up by 2 places, so a good start from him. Driver of the day so far, SNR Pats up there into P3. So where he came from in that Red Bull, I really don't know. We've got Rocker, unfortunately the first real victim of turn 1, getting into issues there. It's dropped him 2 positions. I said there's going to be fireworks on the first lap. Toon has managed to get past, or made up 1 position from lap 1. The Extremist has as well. Stringy making up 2 places. Jack Blum up 4 positions. And Tatton, fantastic for him, he's up by 6. So really the big losers, Timbar, Gavlar, Smithy, Puppy, Mono and Charlie in Japan, all big losers unfortunately, because they have missed out on places on the first lap. So does anyone decide to pit now and make the pit stop? They do, there's loads of them coming in. Now with this, the cars, funny enough, are grouped together in 1 team. The drivers won't know if their teammates have come in. So expect there's going to be carnage in the pits with other drivers, and you can see exactly why. So Timbar has been held because his teammate for this race, which he wouldn't have known before, was in. So he has no way of knowing if his teammate for this weekend, or this race, was in or out. And has thrown him completely down the field. So with that pit stop completed, and the system really playing up, you can see he's trying to sell his iFishers is leading the race, which he is not, because he definitely came in. So let's just find the leader. We'll flip through really quickly. The leader is Shabs in P1, so his day goes from good to better. Only thing is though, has he missed a trick not coming in under this safety car? So a 14 lap race, we're on lap 3 of it right now. So Shabs is the first guy not to pit. Let's get that graphic up really quickly, because this is going to be a big talking point in the race. So the top 5 drivers didn't come in. The first driver who managed to get out is iFishers. Toon has really pulled his fortunes around. So it looks like a good pit stop from the Toon team. I see him jump way up the order again. So he's 7th. So he's the 2nd guy that has pitted. Stringy's the 3rd guy to have pitted. Jack, Rocker, Gavlar, Mono. But the guys at the back really had to roll the dice there. And that's why. So Shabs is currently 1st under the safety car. So not Pats is 2nd, Tatton is 3rd, Smithy 4th, Puppy 5th. And of course then when the safety car comes in, you're going to see the guys that have stopped. Now, with this, so good thinking really, Batman, from the guys who have come in. Now, really in the lap of the gods to know if you were going to make positions up or not. Timbar deciding that he wants to let the Extremists pass. For sure the Extremists will be more than happy to see cars get past him when the lights go green again. When he got under racing conditions, he wouldn't have liked it so much to get himself a penalty. So at the moment we've got McLaren, Red Bull as out there. So we're going to see a non-McLaren victory. That would be very surprising with the amount of non-McLaren cars in this race. The odds really are on a McLaren. victory. So this race now, they've done it completely changed. So now we're not going to see guys coming in the half distance lap. So now it's all about the guys at the front. So the first 5, can they get away from the guys, the fast guys have already pitted and make their pit stop last? So you're looking about what 18, 19 seconds you're going to need for a pit stop. When that safety car comes in, the gap for Shabs is going to be, well, back down to I Fisher's in 6th place, is going to be as far as a distance of 5 cars. So that the pressure's really going to be on I Fisher's to see if he can get it back through the 5 guys ahead of him to get out there. And of course, he is going to have a disadvantage, I Fisher, towards the end of this race. So he's going to have to make these tyres last until the end of lap 14, while Shabs, Slot Pats, Taffen, Smithy and Puppy have all got the opportunity to stay out relatively as long as they want, maybe up until as long as lap 8, lap 9, and really go for it on pretty much what will be fresh tyres for the final few laps of this race. And of course, if you do have a safety car situation a little bit further on, this will definitely favour the guys that have already stopped. So, safety car is in this lap. There's green lights, but my Lando's been told virtually to move back to the pit road. As Shabs now, we're going to see what he is capable of at a safety car restart. I have not seen Shabs make a safety car restart, so I'm definitely going to be looking for him. I'll tell you to look out for his restart. It's going to be I Fishers and Toonfan down there in P6 and P7. And don't discount Rocker either, who's currently in P10. So as he is going to give the safety car a little bit of room. Not a fantastic restart there from Shabs whatsoever, because Sonopats has been able to get all over the back of him. He is going to manage to get away from that. Tatton losing places all the way down. And you can see there, Stringy and I Fishers are completely said, "Who's that? That McLaren!" Awful. Just did not want to get off the gas. And that is Sonot Pats that has fallen right down the order. Big shame for him. Well, I'll have to go back and have a look at that, because that was horrendous. So, Shabs currently leading. It's Stringy in P2. As you can just see, the Extremist looking at P7. He's trying to make a move on Slot Pats on the outside of the car, and does. So, Slot Pats, good move from the Extremist. If he can keep it tight there, he can't. So, Slot Pats temporarily gets back ahead of him for P6. Shabs still leading this race, 1.6 seconds. The gap is currently on lap 4. It's the first lap we've had since the safety car restart. Stringy in P2. It's Toonfan 3rd. It's Rocker 4th. All up for 6 places, because at the start of this lap he was in P10. So I'm telling again, I said that he was going to be a good starter for the safety car restart. Puppy is 5th. So not Pat 6th. Then you've got Extremists who we're looking at in P7 currently. And he has got Timber right behind him as well. He's going to be aggravated after that start, and he gets past the Extremist. You can just see the difference this McLaren has got around here. And he will make him go the long way round. So Shab's done the fastest lap in this race. Timber is like a rocket in the last sector. Off he goes. The Extremist manages to get past. Morrow's gone past Bopats, and off he goes as well. It's not going to be a day. You don't want to be going that slowly either for Snot Pats. I think he's retired from the race, but he was going incredibly slowly down the start finish straight. So Tatten is in. We'll go back to the leader of Shabs that is leading the Bahrain Grand Prix. Hope we don't see another safety car because of that incident. There was nothing wrong with that car. Sonot Pats just seems to have retired from the race on the track, which is very unfortunate for him. Flag in Sector 2, it's Charlie in Japan who has gone off. Big shame for him, for Charlie in Japan. It's caused a virtual safety car. So, under virtual safety car conditions, the drivers will have a delta to follow, so the race is neutralised. Like a safety car where everyone has to follow and concertina up to each other. You have to keep your racing distance from each other and drive at a reduced speed. And the longer this goes on for, really is actually going to be helping the guys that have stopped already. As Shabs really knows he's got to get away from this race. He has got two really fast guys coming at him as well. As we are going green, we're under green again. See Toonfan trying to pull his fortunes round. He's currently P3 right now in this race. He's looking at String. He's got a couple of tenths between him. And of course, the only driver in the top 3 positions who has not stopped is Shabs. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1, so we've got more issues down there. And it has not caused a safety car yet, by the looks of things. It's Mono. So Mono is going to take no further part in this race. He is out. That's what's caused the yellow flag, and hopefully not now a safety car, as the gap for the lead comes down to 8 tenths of a second. And then we've got a train of cars. We've got Stringy, Toonfan, Rocker in 5th place, Puppy, or in 4th place, pardon me, Puppy in 5th. He's yet to stop as well. You got Timbar, who has been absolutely like a rocket out of a bottle, shall we say, at certain parts of this race. Extremist in P7 in that Ferrari. You can see Smithy there, losing out to me for I Fishers. He's trying to come back through the order. And currently Jack is the only driver, was the last driver there in P10 to looking at points. We've still got 12 drivers in this race. Unfortunately, Smithy and Jack Blum have got themselves penalties as Stringy does the fastest lap of this race. If this was an F1 2020 race or 2020 race, you would see him get a point for that. But unfortunately, as before, we used to give points out, so he won't get a point for the fast lap on this in this race format. Smithy taking his time penalty as Puppy and Toombar are fighting over 5th position. Look, Toombar has managed to get past Puppy on this occasion, and a big shame there for Toonfan getting himself a 3-second time penalty. That's going to be for cutting curbs, which of course Bahrain is very known for its curbs, and corner cutting penalties are huge around here. So Shabs currently still leading the Bahrain Grand Prix for classics. As we approach half distance, lap 7 out of 14. The next lap will be coming to half distance. The gap for the lead between Shabs and Stringy is 8 tenths of a second. It has come down. It was around about 1.2 to 1.4 seconds. So Stringy really applying the pressure on Shabs here, who was really seemed to be holding the pressure amicably, you have to say. We've got Toonfan in 3rd, but unfortunately for him, he's got a penalty, and he has got a very fast Irishman behind him as well in Rocker 90. We know all about what he did last year in the classics. At the moment, he has pitted, as have the other two other drivers ahead of him, and then they're all fighting Shabs, who has yet to pit, as Rocker decides now is the time to go purples on the end of lap 7 into lap 8. He does provisional fastest lap of the race. He's 2 seconds behind the leader, but of course in P4, but of course the leader Shabs does have still to pit. Behind him he's got Toonbar, who did out qualify Rocker. You can see how far out he decides to go there for that corner. I might be trying that myself. You see, this is definition, this track, really, of track lines. For me personally, as a racer, I think you keep it on the black stuff, and you shouldn't be taking corner cutting like that. But the F1 drivers do it, and obviously a lot of people just thinking, well, why not do it ourselves around here? It's one Codemaster's being very strict about cutting corners. And my honest belief is you keep it on the black stuff and keep the tyres on the tarmac. You can see Toonbar there deciding that he wants to go a bit further out. You can see the move there between Rocker and Toonfan. So Rocker going up to P3. I don't think Toonfan's going to like that too much. He will be trying to fight him, and it's the perfect time you would want DRS. He hasn't got it in the car. As you can see, Toonfan now can get the old-fashioned draft off the back of Rocker. Hopefully no contact between these two. Rocker taking the outside line, but so much faster there on the outside. than what Rocker was. The Extremist and Fisher's fighting for 7th and 8th position. Where's Toon going to go? Left or right? He tries the inside on this lap in the black helmet. Is he going to come off better? He's outbroken a little bit. He couldn't move there. Big shame for Toon Fan. He does not want to be taking that corner so wide. And again getting the draft as he comes into turn 4. Braking a little bit late. Doesn't want to outbrake himself. And he's left the door wide open there for Rocker. So great fighting between these two. Absolute clean fun, we should be saying. And that is not where you want to be going, Toon. He manages to hold the car together. Apologies there. Wow. We just saw Toon very nearly put it into the barriers. So maybe this is a scene a show of things to come, unfortunately, for him. Maybe the tyres are fading at the end of lap 9. So Shabs is the first guy not to appear. He is leading this race by 0.4 of a second, but Stringy is all over him. As they come out of the last corner, it definitely helps Shabs' track position. But maybe the wise thing to have done would have been pit with everybody else. As you can see, Stringy really hitting the limiter there. So the battle between the Extremist and Puppy, as Puppy decides it is time to come in. So he had to make his pit stop. He's waited till lap 10. So at least now, for the remaining, 4 laps of this race, or actually 5 laps of this race, he will be on some very quick tyres. But unfortunately, in 9th place. He will stay 9th because Gavlar will not be able to catch him. And Gavlar's been in the wars tonight as well. I think he was caught up at the issues we had there at turn 1. Coming in, so Shabs still leading this race. We can see Toon Fan and oh dear. Big shame for Toon Fan there. Maybe it is the tyres that were going. We saw him just about holding the car a couple of laps ago. He had made his required pit stop. He was looking pretty good there for some decent points in, or as high as P3 at one point. He's collected it back again, and that is pure reason why you don't want to keep off those curbs. And talking about Toon Fan and Gavlar, we haven't seen the battle between these two today. Unfortunately, Gavlar's put in the wars as well in his Ferrari. He's down to P11 right now, so no points at the moment. And Stringy's day, or say Shabs' day for the lead, has not gone well. He's got himself a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He'll have to come back in and serve that. So unfortunately, leading this race for so long, since really lap 3 up until the end of lap 11, he is going to go right down to P8, but he'll have to come back in again for that speeding penalty on pit road. And it means that the likes of Puppy and Smithy and Gavlar may be able to take advantage, and unfortunately that may well see Shabs finish out of the points today. So Stringy does take the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix with 4 to go. Rocker, who started well down, has been well down the order, we have to say, has come back up again. He's got the gap for the lead, 1.1 seconds. Chumbar is in P3. He's been like a rocket today. A yellow flag down there in sector, we can see it's gone green, so won't worry about that too much. You've got I Fisher's currently racing there in 4th place. So unfortunately he couldn't, he's gone purple as well, but he couldn't turn that great qualifying into a race performance today. And I tell you what, the way Toonbar has been racing today, you can see how close they are on the track, but it was 9/10 of a second there. He's going to be a handful to get past, especially in the same car as well. It's a good race there for the Extreme. It's done a lot for the pre-season, as I Fisher does there go purple, which is the fast lap of the race. I Fisher, of course, has put on a fantastic show in the pre-season to keep us all entertained. He's currently sitting in P5, And Toon Fan is not going to be very happy with that. He's a P6 and Rocker is out of the race. That is a huge impact. He really was keeping cars honest, but unfortunately the Irishman is out, so it'll be no points for him today, making the 4th retirement. I did not see that one coming. So let's just see if this car is struck anywhere or still on the racetrack. Can't see a stricken car anywhere. It seems like it's already been removed, so we won't be seeing a safety car. We actually don't have the time to have another safety car now. So the lead is looking, this gets better and better for Stringy. 92, he's leading the Bahrain Grand Prix on lap 12. A clear track ahead of him and a 3-second gap back to Trimbar, who has really driven his heart out today. But at the moment, it really wasn't good enough. I think that the issue at the pit stops has absolutely cost him royally. I Fishers is not happy about P3. He is tuned right in the back of Toonbar for 2nd place. This is the gap for P2 we're looking at right now. These guys have all stopped. We've got the Extremist promoted up to 4th position. Clean race for him. It's fantastic so far. Then we've got Toon Fan, who is running 5th, but unfortunately he's holding a penalty as Jack Blum is going all the way over him. Go on, Jack, an ex-teammate of mine. And I want to see if he can get past Toon. Toon, we see him a little bit rattled today. And I tell you what, if Jack can get past him, his confidence will just grow getting past someone of Toon's expertise. Shabs in P7. I don't think he served his penalty yet. We've got Puppy in P8. Smithy in 9th and Gavlar promoted as a course of that retirement to P10. So Stringy the gap is 2.5 seconds to Toonbar. I think maybe if Toonbar had another 5 laps or so, and probably not Irish is behind him, we might see a different result to this race. But Shabs, just a fantastic start from him, and really, I think he missed a trick. Unfortunately, Shabs coming in under safety car conditions as a bad last corner from Toonbar is about to see Fishers move all over the back of the McLaren. Equal cars, 100-metre braking point. He goes in. It looks like Fishers is going to win this round. He cuts him off for the end of the 2nd corner. Is Toonbar going to get a second opportunity, a second bite of the cherry to go at Fishers again? Can he? He's leaving it very, very late. Oh, they were so close there not to have contact. So it looks like this battle for P2 is going to go all the way down to the last corner, as we will follow Stringy until the end of this lap. He's on his white flag lap right now, so the last lap of Bahrain for Stringy. Lap 14 out of 14. So if you're missing us late, it's Stringy who's leading the Bahrain Grand Prix. He's got a white flag lap right now. So at the start of the race, Carnage, unfortunately, an early safety car, and Stringy was the guy that really took full advantage of that coming out. Then we did see, of course, chaos in the pit lane as well, because the car's not, or having a allotted teammate, and of course not knowing who your teammate was for this weekend, so you can't judge of when they're coming in. So, but the guys that did come in or didn't come in, say Shabs being the first guy in a fantastic lap 1, make up a lot of positions, couldn't make it count. Stringy did on the day, and what a way to start. Stringy wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Fantastic for him. Is Fishers, who does finish 2nd on the track. Toonbar 3rd. Great result from him. The Extremist goes up to 4th position on his way home in the Ferrari. We've seen a McLaren win. The Ferrari finishes in 4th place, Toon Fan 5th, but does he on the track, because he doesn't. So it's Shabs who finishes 6th with the penalty. It's Jack Blum in 7th. Puppy is going to come home, it looks like, in 8th place. So it's going to be multiple points for him on the way home. We're going to have 10 finishes, it looks like. We are indeed. Puppy finishes 8th, Smithy down in 9th. We are waiting for Gavlar to come home, so it's a 5-second unspent penalty added to Smithy's time. Gavlar is the last finisher in P10. So what a way to start the Sunday night classic racing. We've got a fantastic week coming up. Stringy voted as driver of the day. Well, I looking through the order, I'm probably going to have to agree. He was the guy that kept his head on lap 1. Quick thinking coming in when he did. He was closing on Shabs on the closing laps before the pit stops came in, and really deserves driver of the day as well. So we'll give it to him. So unfortunately for him, no extra points for winning driver of the day, but definitely an accolade worthy, and of course 25 very well deserved points on the way to him. So full confirmation of the first round 1 Bahrain Grand Prix for classics. First 3 wins in the McLaren. I Fishers finishes 2nd, Chumbar 3rd, Extreme is 4th, Toonfan 5th, it's Shabs 6th, Jack Blum 7th, very well done to him, Puppy 8th, it's Smithy in 9th and Gavlar 10th. So we see McLaren's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 and 9 in this race to show their dominance. They're not going to be able to use those cars for next week's race in Japan short. So they've burnt the McLaren. They're going to have to run different cars. Penalties did play a factor, but realistically on the day, it all came down to that lap 1 incident, and we saw, of course, multiple drivers coming in. We didn't know it at the time, but that was the crucial part of the race to come in, and the drivers that had the better pit stops were able to come in, ultimately did the best in this race. Of course, the Shabs who stayed out there, he ran the car and put it up to a very respectable 6th position. But on the day, it was all about coming in and making that early stop as far as time is concerned. So thank you very much to you all for watching. I think we got the Sunday classics for RRC, for Redline Racing Community, well underway for this season. Keep up with us, of course. So we've got the Monday League, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're taking a break on Thursday, and then we've got Friday again coming up very, very soon. And of course, we've got more action, of course, this time next week. Of course, for Japan short. Is it going to be 2 wins out of 2 for Stringy? We are looking forward to finding out. So thank you very much again for watching, and your support means a lot to us. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you very much for watching. This is Scrappy Doo signing out.